Who is on upset alert for conference championship week? Well, we do the video a little bit different this week. And we're also off schedule a little bit. So normally on Tuesdays we do the playoff eliminator. Wednesday we do the upset alert video. I decided to switch those around this week because the playoff rankings that come out tonight will have a major impact on the playoff eliminator video if teams are not where I expect them to be in terms of playoff paths. So we're going to do that video tomorrow, and I'll give you a reaction to the playoff rankings. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take the 9 conference championship games, and I'm going to rank them from the least likely to most likely to be an upset. And I'll kind of just give you my predictions on these games as we go. So that's the way we do it for conference championship weekend, because obviously we can't come up with 8 games where the spread is going to be 4 points or more to be an upset. So let's jump right in. And I didn't even look at last week, so I don't know how many upsets we had last week, but I know that the Cal SMU one was on the video. I don't remember what else we had last week, but so at least we had one. But anyways, let's get into it. Starting with the least likely, and I think that's Troy James Madison. I think the Vegas spread tells us everything we need to know here. 23.5 point favorites. James Madison should have no trouble with this game. And I noticed this year, maybe it's been this way, I just don't remember, but it's like almost every group of 5 conference championship game is on Friday this year. I know that there have been some in the past, but I think that it's all but the MAC, I think, is on Friday, which is really interesting. I'm not sure why they did that. Yeah, I guess they just figure nobody's going to watch the games if there's a Power 4 conference championship game on Saturday, and maybe, but now they're all competing with each other. So yeah, I don't know. Anyways, James Madison should roll here in this one. Next, we got Texas Tech BYU. This one is at noon Eastern time on ABC. Texas Tech favored by 12.5. They won the first game easily. You've got the coaching distractions there with Solani Sitake at BYU. And, you know, I don't know what's going to happen with that. I've heard that, first we heard he was probably going to go to Penn State. And then now it's looking like maybe he stays, and by the time you see this video, maybe we already know. But it's if nothing else, it's a distraction. And with Texas Tech already having the better football team, and they already won the first game easily, I think Texas Tech probably rolls here in this one. So I do not see an upset in these first 2 games. Let's go now to the ACC Championship. This one is at 8 o'clock Eastern time, Saturday on ABC. Virginia favored by 3.5. And I talked about it the other day, just what a mess for the ACC to even have Duke in this game. And when I said in that video that playoff rankings should be the tiebreaker, I don't think that should be the first tiebreaker. I think what you should have is, when you have multiple teams tied, the way I would do it, unless they all played each other, which they probably didn't, I would just say, first of all, who had the most wins versus tied opponents. Because if I remember correctly, Duke had 0 wins against these teams that were tied for second place. So that would eliminate them, and then that right there would take care of this problem. But if you went on down the list, that's when I would probably go with the playoff rankings. So I would definitely be using that in my tiebreaker formula, but that is not, to be clear, that is not the first thing I would go by. Again, that's just something that I would put down the list. But yeah, first of all, I think it should just be wins versus teams that are tied. And I don't know which team I think there were a couple teams maybe that had 2 wins, 2 or 3 teams that had 2 wins. So I don't know who winds up winning that. And of course, if you eliminate teams, then you go to head-to-head once you get down to teams that have all played each other. Anyways, that's a totally different subject. This game, I think Virginia rolls, honestly. I think Duke coming in here, they've been very inconsistent down the stretch. I know they won their last game. Virginia has been, I would say, the most consistent team probably in the ACC this year. And they really haven't looked terrible at any times. And these teams actually played not long ago. Virginia won pretty easily. So I think Virginia wins here. The ACC, I think, can do everything they can to have Virginia win this game. Can you imagine the ACC not getting a playoff team in? That would be pretty wild. So I think Virginia actually rolls here. I think they're the better team already. And they're the team that really has something to play for here. Unless they choke and the pressure gets to them, But I think Virginia's focused. They're ready, and they win this game. All right, next we got Indiana, Ohio State. So the first 3 games are the games where I feel pretty confident. The other 6 games, I could really see going either way. This one is one of those, I lean towards Ohio State. This game is going to be prime time, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. Ohio State's favored by 4.5. That's not a very big number. This is 1 versus 2. Both teams figure to have first-round byes in the college football playoff. We know about Ohio State. We know how good they are. And we know that Indiana is a very good football team. They've proven that this year. But when it comes down to just talent, is that going to be a factor here? Just the Ohio State roster being more talented. We saw last year Indiana struggle against those teams. Now this year they did beat Oregon, so they've proven that they've taken a step forward from where they were last year, and because of that, I think they're capable of winning this game. It's almost a toss-up for me. I'm leaning Ohio State, and again, that's why I agree with that point spread only being 4.5. I think Ohio State probably wins, but I think it's close. I think it's competitive. I think it's going to be a great game, and it wouldn't shock me though if Indiana did pull off this upset. Next, we got Georgia, Alabama. This one is at 4 o'clock Eastern time on ABC on Saturday. Georgia favored by 2.5 points. I like the Bulldogs here, but again, this is one that could really go either way. Alabama won the first game, but you just feel like if you look at these teams and how they played down the stretch, Georgia seemed like they were really getting better and better. Alabama still just kind of up and down. Some problems they've had have continued to be there. Kirby Smart, I think, is the better coach, especially with an extra day to prepare. Remember, they played on Friday. They had an extra day to prepare, although I guess they didn't know for sure that it was going to be Alabama, but they probably expected it because they knew it wasn't going to be Texas A&M because they lost on Friday. So I would imagine they probably already started doing some prep here for Alabama. And again, they've already played this season. So this is one where it's going to be, in my opinion, about just which team wants it more. They're both teams very talented. It's an even matchup if you look at the X's and O's. I just think Kirby Smart motivates his team. He gets them ready, and they go in there and get revenge. Kirby Smart and revenge games. That's just, it's tough to beat him, and I think that Georgia gets the win here. But absolutely could be an upset. That's why we've got it here at number 5. Number 4, another game that could really go either way. The MAC Championship. Now, this one is on Saturday. It's at noon Eastern time on ESPN. So if you want a second game to keep up with, you can keep up with this one. Western Michigan favored by 2.5. Now, what's interesting here, Western Michigan coming in the hotter team. They've won 4 in a row. But Miami of Ohio actually won the regular season game. That one was at home, though. So on a neutral field, I could definitely see Western Michigan taking this. Honestly, though, I don't know a ton about these teams. This is a toss-up. It could go either way. That's, of course, why I'm putting it near the top in terms of likely upsets. UNLV, Boise State, kind of the same. So this one's a little bit different, actually. This one's another Friday night game, 8 o'clock Eastern time on Fox. Boise State's favored by 3.5. They actually won the first game pretty convincingly. They're playing at home. But UNLV's coming in as the hotter team. So this is, it's very interesting. The team that won the regular season game, or the team that lost the regular season game, is the team that's maybe playing with a little bit more momentum in UNLV. But they are playing on the road here. So actually, I probably should have switched this one with the MAC. I think the MAC game is maybe a little bit more likely of an upset. Especially with Miami of Ohio winning the first time. But either way, these games are toss-ups. I mean, anybody could win. It could really go either way. Then we go to Conference USA. This is the definition of a toss-up game. Friday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time on CBS Sports Network. I believe Jacksonville State won the first game by about, I think it was by 9. So, yeah, it was a close game. They're playing at home. The spread, I believe, for whatever reason, was not listed on this graphic. I think Jacksonville State, when I looked it up, was a 1.5-point favorite. So this is truly a toss-up type game. Again, I don't know. Either team could win. I don't know a lot about these two teams. So obviously we could see an upset here. This is going to be the lowest point spread of all the conference championship games. But I actually think the most likely upset here is in the American. Tulane is an underdog, which surprised me. Playing at home. This one's on a Friday. This is also Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. North Texas favored by 2.5. I think Tulane's the better team here. I think, again, there's really no reason to expect North Texas to win. So if I'm going to pick an upset in a conference championship game, it is this game. This is the one that I think will be an upset. Both teams have lost their coaches. Coaches have now moved on. I don't know the full story there on if they're going to be coaching potentially in the college football playoff or in this game or whatever. But I just, again, watching these teams all year, I felt like Tulane was a little bit better. I think they win this game. So that is the most likely upset, in my opinion, here for the conference championship games. Give me your thoughts on these conference championship games and which ones you think could possibly be upsets. Again, let me know what you think down in the comments below.